Hello, my name is Maggie, and welcome back to Keeping Up with the Leaguedashians. And unfortunately, it is probably the saddest episode I have ever done. But Akeem is only episode 2, which is make it even sadder because you know what? I'm gonna skip ahead. We're gonna look at the LEC first, and I have never in my entire life looked at a table that this sadness. I I'm stunned about this whole thing. Like the obvious is pretty much right there, of course, in your eyeballs. The fact that Koi, G2, Fnatic, all the BSZ Fnatic just dropped the ball at the last second, but it would have been funnier if G2 would have been eliminated from the playoffs and every single, Reddit fans would go ballistic if that happened. But the crisis averted, of course, by Caps. But I just look at this as just saying this LEC just feels wide open. But then again, I said the same thing about LEC in the last couple of years, and we know what G2, we know what Koi is gonna capable of. So I'm not gonna say like let's go incredibly crazy if Navi or Vitality or Heretics do well. I'm just not gonna go crazy. In fact, Heretics were at one point 11th place going into like the last couple of weeks. They've gone to 4th. That is incredibly wild, of course. Giant X is still in 4th, of course. And I just look at this and just feels like, and I already mentioned this in yesterday's video. I think I mentioned this in yesterday's video. If you want, you can click on that video, of course. But I already mentioned this in a video, of course, that this is going to really hurt the LEC tenfold. And I don't think Cadril is the kind of person who's going to fork over $10 million. And I don't think none of these teams is going to like give up their slot. You do not see, there's no way the Commento and Ebi with the egos that they have and the fan bases that they have is going to shell out money. I do not think they're the kind of guys. Giant X, no thank you. Heretics, no. Navi just, get their feet warm. And I want to see them getting replaced by shifters, but even that is a far-fetched idea. So, I know I'm supposed to talk about a league, but this is where the road meets the rubber right now for the LEC. And right now I've seen a lot of comments, when I'm watching the reaction video of all of it, and they are just brutally honest right now. They are not watching the LEC anymore. And I think that's pretty much the most honest thing. And it makes me feel sad because I was rooting for them. I was rooting for Las Vegas to make the playoffs. I'm not saying to win LEC versus or make first stand, of course. That's pretty much out of the question. I was rooting to them for even, give them a competitive advantage. It's like a group of 5 conference team, I'm talking college football right now, is given a chance against a Power 5. You know there is no shot of actually winning that game. But you just wanted to make it competitive. You just want to see if the little guys can have a chance. And unfortunately, it makes this whole sadder because they had it in their hands. All they just had to do is to beat Vitality, and none of this would have happened. Like, they didn't realize how crazy that day was, of course. And by the way, if you wanted to know anything, they got 3 teams and 5 and 6 tiebreakers. And we couldn't have tiebreakers yesterday, let's be honest. I mean, we couldn't have the extra day to have a tiebreaker between this and then the tiebreaker be that, and then that would have been it. That would have been like 2 matches, best of ones. That's it. You mean we couldn't have that? And I can understand laws and I can understand, timing and cost it will take, but dude, you could just put this whole thing online and nobody would care. I would rather have them go out and win by playing than being out by not even playing and have fate entirely out of their hands. That has to suck for me. And it's going to suck for the LEC as a whole because right now, I'm just be brutally honest. For the French-speaking fans and for the Spanish-speaking fans, this is like your UEFA Champions League victory, your celebration moment. But in terms of English-speaking audience, in terms of sponsorships, in terms of hype and all kinds of stuff, what do we have right now? The broadcast is getting shelled out. The cost to run a studio every single day is just being ridiculous at a point. And I heard like little rumors that it might play it online, of course, which is a major blow, of course, and probably going to play road shows, which I think the NLC did that anyways, of course. So it just had that feeling of like spring is going to be really, really hollow at this point. And summer, I don't know what summer is going to be like, but I'll tell you what, the absolute drop off from what happened in winter to like what happened in summer is going to be drastically a drastic downfall to the point of like, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in all of this. And the toxicity that's come with it, not surprised at all. Consider the hostility between these two teams. And this is the whole thing of be careful what you wish for because you might just get it. You listen. I bet you right now the LEC offices are just wanting the Los Angeles to be out of LEC. They are really happy about this. They just love it when it happens. They just love it. But they don't realize the absolute damage it caused. I've already talked about it. I'm not going to go deep into all of that, but I talk about the viewership. I talk about the hype. I talk about the community outreach from like, North America to like in Europe, of course. The outreach and the feeling that we have for the LEC for the last couple of years is something that I do not think they can replicate with any team in any circumstances ever again. This is a once in a lifetime moment. And it was Riot who put them in the first place. And it was Riot who put all the rules in place, despite all the transfer fees or the fees, of course, to come in. Not so great. And because of the hoopla, of course. And everybody was thinking, yeah, at 0-4, there were no chance to go through. And for that to even happen, it hurts my heart. I do not think Los Angeles will win LEC. No freaking way. But what I do know is that I believe the Los Angeles would have beaten a Fnatic, would have beaten a G2. No, well, in a best of 3, of course. But you give me Los Angeles and Fnatic today, in any circumstances, in a best of 3. And I just don't see Fnatic win a game against Los Angeles. Because if you look at the bracket right now, I just don't see Navi. This is going to be an ass whooping. Navi is going to whip Fnatic so hard, you will not even going to watch it at around, post 9 a.m. or something. It's going to be like one of those 12 a.m., 1 a.m. kind of viewings, of course, for like adults. This is just bad. I mean, I saw Navi's game. Navi were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant in their tournament. They got the entire lineup. Han Samdi, is that right? Yeah, Samdi. Samdi was amazing. Polby, by the way, facing off against his old nemesis. And let's be honest, I will not be surprised if Navi. I will not be surprised if Navi would even like sweep Fnatic. It's out of the realm of possibility, but unless Fnatic can just show up on a single day and just come out and play brilliantly, I just don't see that happen. I just don't see that happening at this point. I am going to go Navi 2-0 over Fnatic in the first bracket. Team Americans in G2. Listen. Years ago, I would say that yes, G2 are not good at best of ones, but give them best of 3s and best of 5s. And I think G2 will be fine. They will be good enough. They got the veteran players, of course, to go through. But I just had that feeling of like, I don't know, Akeem. I think this is probably the one time that I think G2 could lose. And I will not be shocked if that happens. Yes, congratulations. You just qualified for playoffs, but you did it by the barest of all margins, of course. You did it because Caps have a fed Oriana and just dominate that game. This game was not even close, to be honest. And I just don't have a good feeling. Broken Blade just doesn't look great. Han Sama looked bad. Caps just, other than the one game he has, just not that brilliant. Skewmon just looked flat. Labrov looks bad. Like, do I believe Heretics could pull the upset? I don't think so, based on, history and reputation and all kinds of stuff. But I would not be surprised if Team Heretics managed to actually beat G2 in a really close series. Consider how good Heretics were, the hot hand, as many people, of course, is like, beware the hot hand, of course, and all the kind of stuff. I think Heretics is going to give G2 a challenge, an absolute challenge in this series. And I'm going to go straight up G2-2-1 because obvious. But if Heretics were to beat G2, it will not be the biggest shock in the world if that happens. Give me G2 to win this series. KC versus Giant X. I don't know about Giant X. I think they're fine. Giant X will look like a fine team, of course. But KC has been all over this season. Like, yes, many people want to talk about the loss they have against Heretics. I think Heretics, yeah. Many people would talk about the loss to Heretics and the whole match fixing thing, which, let's be brutally honest, I do not think there's match fixing. That will be like the craziest thing to ever happen if like all K Core players, consider the fan base that they have and consider the reputations that they have, is going to straight up admit that they're going to match fix it. That will be a crime against all of League of Legends and against humanity, of course. Was it bad? Yeah, it wasn't bad, but I don't think it was egregious, of course. I seen so much match fixing in China and like way back in VCS, of course, that I could just say that this is like the least of their worries. Behind that one match, I think KC are looking like pretty much the top class of the LEC. I think I have them 2-0 against Giant X. I just don't see Giant X are doing absolutely much. And I think I think Vitality versus Koi is gonna be a fun match. I think it's gonna be a bloodbath, of course. I can trust Koi, but I can also but I can say Vitality could actually do something. I think this is gonna be a really tightly contested game. It's gonna be a close one. There's gonna be a lot of kills. It's gonna come down to whose mid laner is gonna be disciplined, Jojo PN or Humanoid. Humanoid, right? I think Humanoid is in this team. Yes, Humanoid is in this team. It's gonna come down to the mid lane, and it's probably gonna come down to the bot lane as well, because if Super can actually have a good performance, I think Koi can win. If Cards can have a good performance, I think Vitality can win. This is probably one of those 50-50 matches that is gonna come down to either team not crap in the bed. And I will have give me Koi. Just give me Koi 2-1, it'll be done. So I got Navi 2-0 Fnatic, 2-1 G2 over G2 over Team Heretics, Carmen Corp 2-0 over Giant X, and I got Koi beating Vitality 2-1. I think I just said Vitality, but I kind of flip-flop, of course. And those games will take place this week, the 16th and the 17th. And I just want to know what the viewership will be like after this whole thing, because then the viewership just goes downhill. Just like, yep, that proves my point. That literally proves everybody's point. That pretty much proves everybody's point that, oh, we don't need Lost Tonus, but actually the Lost Tonus need the LEC. Actually, let me flip that. Lost Tonus doesn't need the LEC. The LEC needs Lost Tonus. In fact, they need any team that is Lost Tonus right now. But then again, they made their bed, and now they're going to have to sleep with it. Sucks. Now for the LCS lock-in. And if you thought the LEC was crazier, oh boy, the LCS was just brutal. Now, let's just go on the back. How the hell is FlyQuest rank like the second best team? Or scratch that. How come they rank the third best team over Sentinels? Like, I just look at the schedule right now. Yeah, like FlyQuest against Shopify Rebellion and Disguise. I get Shopify Rebellion and not been great. They look crap, let's be honest. And DSG has been good. I give DSG credit. I was never expecting DSG to do much this split. But here they are, of course. But I think they do well. And I can understand Sentinels facing off against a crappy Dignitas team, a not-so-good Team Liquid team, and losing to a Disguised Toast team that nobody expected them to do well. But even then, I just felt like I don't get it. Like you could just have a tiebreaker game between these three. You could have a tiebreaker game between Sentinels, FlyQuest, and Disguise to see who will be second and third and fourth. And even I will never believe it. Like, okay, fine, switch stage for 8 teams is hard, but Christ almighty, you could just have a simple solution and nobody bat an eyelid. The disappointment is Team Liquid. Like, how did Team Liquid went from the best duos in all of scrims to this, to losing to Cloud9 and then losing to Sentinels, and we're barely losing to Dignitas. Like, imagine losing to Dignitas. That, like, I would be like, absolutely appalled if that happens. I will be absolutely appalled. It will be like the biggest shock in all of League of Legends, next to G2 not making the playoffs and Los Angeles making it. That would be the most shocking thing happening. And I just had that feeling of like, I am not sure that Team Liquid at this point is going to make it far. If we look at the bracket, Sentinels and Dignitas, Sentinels in the skies, by the way. Yes, kids, the winner of this game is going to be a top 3 team. You're not fooling. The winner of this will be a top 3 team and go to Sao Paulo for the America's Cup. Which, if you'd have told me that a couple of days ago or a couple of months ago, I would say no, thank you. If you would have told me that a couple of months ago that these 2 teams would have make it into the upper bracket, have a shot of being a top 3 team, I would have said no, thank you. I would have said like you're dumb and you need to have your brain checked. And I believe that would have been me. But at the same time, what a job by this guys. What a job by Sentinels. What a job by both GMs. Of course, I think David Shinar just talk about the GM and about the West and all that stuff and not taking chances of tier 2 teams. When GMs like the one that this guys did do something like, I don't know, having Crya being incredible and Sajin being good. And when you have the GM and of Sentinels doing an incredible work, bringing back Impact, making Impact look like a decent player. Darkwings look good. Rael look incredible. Hui, it's a veteran player looking absolutely brilliant. You do that all the time, I would just feel like, why can't you guys do it? Why can't you guys do like what they did? It's not that hard. Like, oh, but Akeem, we have to win for LECS. And I said it a couple of times. I don't think winning LCS and Worlds doesn't matter at any point. I don't think it matters at this point. Like, look at Lost for the Totems right at that point. Yes, I'm going to keep saying Lost for the Totems because it's the obvious. But look at Lost for the Totems. They don't even have the championship pedigree, but yet they have more viewership than even, like, I don't know, G2 at this point. Like, it doesn't matter about the winning competitions. Winning competitions does not mean anything. Although it's a nice, shiny, badge on your honor, of course. It doesn't mean gigantic balls of crap, of course. And I will edit this out to David Shynock, of course, but I don't want to overreact, but I believe that Sentinels are going to win the LCS lock-in split. I think that they have the team to do it. I think Impact is doing well. I think Real has been incredible. I think Dark Winds are looking incredibly great. And I think if all the chips are falling down, I think they might win the whole thing. It's not going to be a top 3, the whole freaking enchilada. Also, how'd the Bad Bunny concert, by the way? How was it? Anyways, back to that. FlyQuest versus Cloud9, it's going to be a tight one, of course, just like the last game. It was a great series, don't get me wrong. It's probably one of the series of the week. And FlyQuest just showed their youth, man. They got crushed in Game 3. It was not even close. Crushed in Game 1, do well in Game 2 to even bring it back, and it was like chaotic, but they won in Game 2 and they get crushed in Game 3. And it just felt like, yeah, I think Cloud9 are better than FlyQuest. And I'm not sure they can do better in a best of 5 setting, of course. And I think that's going to be the issue. I think this is going to be like FlyQuest development rather than just trying to win the LCS. And I think that's pretty much what is seen in the series, of course, at Cloud9. And I would not be shocked if FlyQuest win a game or two. I think it's going to be a close series, like a 3-2 Cloud9 win, maybe a 3-1. The worst case scenario is a 3-0, and it'll be so foolish of everybody else. As for Sentinels, this guys, I believe that I think that I like Disguised. I like Disguised, of course. I like this team from like the very beginning. I do not think Sentinels have anything much, but I think this guy's going to win, and this might be I think this is the rematch of the last time they met, in which everybody expected Sentinels to win, but the Skies just absolutely shocked everybody by having Sajin playing absolutely off his record. Will he do it again? I don't know, but I think it'll be a really interesting series. It's gonna be a really interesting series. The losers of this will face off against Lion, who right now I don't even trust Lion right now at the point. With all the things that are going on with Impact, what do you expect? You brought one of the best Western junglers ever, and he looked like absolutely not so good. And of course, his attitude problem is just not looking great right now. And of course, Team Liquid, it's a wide open LCS. I think many people are saying it, of course. It's a really wide open LCS to which I just have no idea who's going to win the whole thing. And that's great. Great for me, great for you, great for all the content people, of course. So it's going to be a chaotic LCS, of course. These matches will take place, and I will see the Valentine's Day, mind you, and on Sunday. So if you love League of Legends, this weekend is for you guys. Now let's go to the LCK. When we go to the LCK Cup, and it has been a wild LCK Cup. Like kind of like esports did not even make it. Jesus Christ! I think the Let's Cover Korea guys of Dagon and Wolf, of course. Subscribe to their channels, of course. Subscribe to them and all the Last Free Nation stuff, and subscribe to my channel for all League of Legends stuff. We're almost 55 subscribers, so that'd be great for you guys. But that's a big shocker. Although you can say that if you would have, not lose to Nosh and Red Force and not have a game against Breon, none of this would have happened, of course. So that's on them. But even T1, even Faker said the format was bad. So, I mean, you sign up for this. The same thing with like the LEC, the LCS, you already sign up for this. And also, if I were commissioner, I would just feel like, hang on, where's the collective bargaining agreement? There's no collective bargaining agreement. There's no, setup of schedules and all kinds of stuff. There's no fixed format. I think that's the problem with League of Legends in a whole. There is just no fixed formats from year to year. Like, I mean, the LCK at least kept the format from last year until this year, but it's almost had that feeling like we changed the format, then we changed another format, then we changed another format year after year to like, please fan sentiment is like, dude, what about yourselves? Like, I don't like the NFL putting 18 games, but I will watch 18 games because I have no other choice. And also, you are not making sure that we have like, a lockout, of course, in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, I don't like it, but at the same time, it's like, what are you gonna do? So, if I were like League of Legends commissioner, not esports commissioner, that's a hard title to do. But if I were League of Legends commissioner, I would have a fixed schedule for all leagues, not just one league, all the leagues, and they will play at a certain schedule, all in a best of threes, and maybe fearless, of course, and then we go from there. We just go from there, and that will be applied for every single split. Would it be hard? Yes, it will be hard, but I think it will be like it will not be easy. Trust me, it will not be easy, but it will not be difficult as well. And as we look at the play-in stage, of course, DRX just beat the crap out of Breon, which is not a surprise. Although it was a close series, of course, G Woo was a series, and then D Plus just beat the Everlapping DRX. Then Super surprised everybody beating Noshim Force, and then DRX surprised everybody more by beating Noshim Red Force. Like the team was absolutely with 2-3, but look how impressive 2-3. Like, yes, they are below the two best teams in all of LCK by a country mile. But even then, you just look at that and say, oh, Noshim Red Force look absolutely decent. They beat Han Life Esports. It's clean as a whistle. I was thinking, okay, they might go through. And then the fact they lost to Supers, which, by the way, half the teammates of Peter and Doc Dom, the former KT roster ball leaders. If you're KT roster right now, you must be punching your air and get swept by the same team, and the MVP is your former player. That has to be so sickening, of course. And then you lose to DRX, which, by the way, if you look at the lineup, it's like you call G Woo, that's it. Like, I'm sorry, that's like the Honor Life Esports was shocking enough. This is like the second biggest shock, of course. So if you look at the bracket right now, FearX versus Supers, and then D plus versus DRX. Like, I look at this playoffs right now, and it just feels like it's either Gen G or T1 in the funnels or no balls. Like, unless like FearX improve, or unless D plus can just reel back their 2020 form, or Showmaker just play absolutely out of his mind, which can happen. I just do not see a world it is a Gen G T1 final. And you know what? As much as it's tiring you guys, I do not mind another final because of how good these teams are. And we couldn't have it in the grand finals of Worlds, but KT Roster did some KT Roster things. And the same thing with the LCK, of course. But I believe that this is going to be a Gen G T1 final until proven otherwise. Until you guys prove me wrong, because I think we did it, of course, like last year, of course. Unless the other teams will prove me wrong, then I said Gen GT1 final, with no exceptions. Onwards to the LPL. And just a couple of hours ago, we just had the LPL. I think the playoffs just finishing, and also teams just going to Ascension next split. And as we all know, Top Esports just defeated Team WE, and then Ninjas Pajamas just beat, you know, Invictus Gaming. I mean, Christ, if you're a Top Esports, 3-2 against Team WE is just not in the great cards, of course. Just not as great, of course. And then you got OMG just defeated EEG. Oh, Lord. And then, LNG just beat Dunderdog Gaming clean as a whistle. Cool, cool, cool. Now, the last two series, of course, will determine who will go to knockout stage and who will go to Ascension. Invictus Gaming versus OMG and TNW versus LNG. I just don't have a good feeling about these four teams, of course. Mostly Invictus Gaming, of course. Like, Invictus Gaming just doesn't look great. Just doesn't look great. And I just don't see that happening. And then, of course, we'll have to draw the teams that go from here, and then we'll have to play the best of 5, and then top 2 teams will go to first stand, and winner will go to win the whole thing. So there's the LPL for you. Not much to say about the LPL, just like decking some chairs, of course. The LCP. Well, we got some shakeup in the LCP right now. As you can see, CPC Flying Oyster just doesn't look great. Yeah, that's what happens when you just lost most of your team, of course. And this is the result, of course. Now, the biggest surprise, of course, is Deep Cross Gaming. And I believe Deep Cross Gaming just came from qualifier. Like, look at the teams like Hongsu, Fang, Shao, Si. Oh, I think I know Fang, of course. They just qualified for the free for all guest slot, of course. They were guest slot team, of course. Same thing with Disguised Toads, of course, in which like you become a guest slot, and then you have to defend the guest slot for like another year. And the surprise to everybody, they're 6-1 beside the Team Secret Wells team, a team that made the finals of last year's LCP Grand Finals along with CTP's Flying Oyster. And I would say right now, this is gonna be a really big shakeup in the hierarchy, of course. GAM will take on SoftBank, and then Ground Zero will take on CPC Flying Oyster. I will not be shocked if we can get a different winner out of this. I would say the Team Secret Wells might win. I think Deep Secret Cross Gaming come from guest slot to even gold there. It came from like being a guest team to winning the whole thing would be tremendous. Tremendous for the LCP as a whole to tell the story about a team that come from nowhere. Although they used to play in the VCS way back when, and the PCS, actually the PCS, yes. They were used to play in the PCS back then, but of course because of all the reshuffling and all kinds of stuff, they end up in the LCP, shuffling the tables, and now they're here, and now they're a chance to actually do the craziest thing. And if that happens, that'll be incredible. Now, I would not. Now, would it be surprised if Flying Oyster win the whole thing? Well, yeah, because they were not there. And doesn't look great. But I would love to see a different story other than the obvious. And I think right now we might get the different story. But who knows? Who knows? Time will tell. And finally, for the CB Law, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the knockout brackets. Kien Stars beat Pain Gaming, and then Leviton go through to even play in the play-in. So Kien Stars and Leviton are in the bracket stage, and then of course if we look at the bracket stage, Loud defeat Kien Stars, and then Furia beat Leviton, which means we have Kien Stars and Leviton playing for their lives. The winner will get Furia, who lost the Red Cannons, and who lost to Loud, which means it's Loud versus Red Cannons. Oh my god. Loud Gaming are back? Loud Gaming are back after all these years? My goodness gracious. I mean, I counted Loud out like a couple of years ago, but my god, that's incredible, of course. So it will be Leviton versus Kien Stars, and that will take place on Valentine's Day, and then the following day will be the winner will take on this, and then after that will be Loud versus Cannons in the upper bracket final. And the 22nd will be the lower bracket, and then the 28th and 29th. Oh, March 1st will be the finals. Forgot, it's not a leap year, Akeem. So that's the CB load for you. And I believe that concludes this section of the Keep It Up with the Leaguedashians. It's a long, winded episode. Actually, 30 minutes of an episode, of course. So thank you all for watching this whole thing. Like, comment, subscribe to this whole thing, and we'll see you next week when the entire League of Legends scene is heated up and the road to first stand is getting clearer by